My God.
Oh. Ugly-looking devil, isn't he?
Don't tell me someone wore it.
Oh, no, they're just for decoration these days. But it's a lovely piece of work.
Oh, where's it from?
Kenya.
Ah, the land of the Mau Mau.
Kikuyu.
You were there. Did you fight them?
I lived amongst them.
Now, you know what I mean.
Did you want to buy that?
It must have been frightful.
Madam, do be careful of that. It's really not meant to...
Did you see any of their rituals? Now, come on, tell me.
Can I help you?
What? Oh, yes.
Oh, I'll wrap it for you.
No, that's all right. Here.
Thank you.
I'd love to have that, if it's ever for sale.
Thank you, madam. Please call again.
Silly bitch.
Well, she's a customer, dear.
It must have been frightful. What the hell would she know about it?
She's not worth getting upset about. It was all a long time ago now.
Not so long.
Thank you. Postmark Nairobi. Can't quite make out the date, though. My nephew specializes in issues before 1914.
You told me. Those are all early 1950s, I'm afraid.
Still, they look very nice to me. Where'd you get them?
I happened across them in an old file. I thought he might like them for his collection, even so. Actually, I don't just come bearing gifts. I have a problem. That is, the Kenya government has a problem. They're bringing to trial a chap named Dedan Mburu, known as General Egypt during the Mau Mau troubles.
Yes.
Acquired a taste for assassinating other Kenyans and hasn't been able to give up the habit. Turned on his old friends. Now under arrest for murder.
That would be the business of the Kenya government, wouldn't it?
They want us to send out a man to give evidence at the trial. Edward Kirk.
I see.
You know Kirk, of course. I understand he acted as an interpreter for Special Branch for a couple of years after he came back from Kenya.
Yes, he did. He was brought up in Kenya and lived most of his life there. He's retired now, though. I don't...
I've no doubt the Kenya authorities could approach Kirk directly, but it is a little difficult. Some of their present leaders were Kirk's bitterest enemies during the emergency.
Why do they want to invite him back, then?
He was an enemy, but, they say, an honest man.
Who is that? I know him.
They want evidence about particular incidents in Mburu's past. Kirk is the only man who can give it.
Well, if it's as vital as all that, surely he'll go.
It'll be a long job. It might go on for months.
Why'd you come to me?
Well, how did you get along with Kirk? He was a fellow Scot, eh?
Yes, his father came from somewhere. But his background was a bit different from mine.
Yes. Like the colonial police were rather different from your ordinary British bobby.
Am I meant to take that as an insult or a compliment?
Yeah.
What do you want me to do?
Nothing. Just ask him up to London. For a little talk in the first place. A preliminary chat to see what's wanted. I believe he's bought a business somewhere in the wilds of Surrey.
Yes, so I believe.
Well, I'll leave it to you then. Oh, it's quite urgent, really.
Some very strange things you got here, sir.
Well, pretty comprehensive. We try to cater for all tastes. Collectors, really.
Yeah, so I see.
Are you a dealer?
No, Mr. Kirk, I'm not. Detective Chief Inspector Jordan of Special Branch.
Special Branch?
Yes.
Oh, they've got around to presenting me with a gold watch at last, huh?
No, it's a request, actually.
What?
A request for help.
What about where from?
Well, from Kenya, actually.
Nothing doing.
But I haven't told you what it's about.
Nothing you tell me could interest me.
Well, sir, you're only wanted for a meeting in London.
I couldn't possibly leave the shop.
But couldn't your wife?
Oh, no, she could not.
Well, I'd like to explain to you, sir, exactly what is needed.
Yes, but I'm sorry, but you're wasting your time.
It's about a Kenyan, Dedan Mburu.
General Egypt?
Yes, that's the gentleman. It seems that he's to go on trial.
Yes.
Oh, have you read about it?
I'm sorry, I'm not available.
The request has come to us from the Foreign Office. The government...
I don't care who's requested it. I cannot be forced to go, and I do not wish to go, so there's your answer.
But you see, you're the only British officer who knew him.
Oh, yes, I knew him well.
But so naturally...
No, not naturally, Mr. Jordan. I've retired for good and all. Finished. Out of it.
Teddy, when you're ready, dear.
Perhaps you'd like some tea before we go back to London.
There was nothing I can do. He wouldn't budge.
Why?
I don't know.
Well, I know the man, Jordan, not your fault.
He was adamant.
Knowing that it was a request from the government?
Oh, yes, I told you. That was the first thing I said to him. I said...
Good evening.
Good evening, Chief Superintendent. Back already, Jordan?
Yes, Jordan can't persuade Kirk to come to London, let alone Kenya.
How far did you get with the man?
Well, I mentioned Mburu, I mentioned the trial, the request from the government I mentioned, but the man wouldn't even discuss it.
I've always understood he was a difficult man.
Difficult? No, he told me, he said, I have retired for good and all, and that is it.
Yes, but retired or not, he still has his duty.
Well, I would say his devotion is now centered upon his shop and his wife.
Well, but he can't refuse a reasonable request like this.
Well, he
It
did.
would certainly be extremely embarrassing for Her Majesty's government if Kirk refused to go. The suspicion may arise that we don't want to help, that we have something to conceal from the past.
Leave Kirk to me. No, it was a name like Harris, wasn't it? Harris?
Probably Banger Harris.
Banger Harris, that's it.
That's the man. Mary. Mary. Mary.
Oh, I went to sleep. I'm so sorry. I do apologize.
Not a bit, it's me that should apologize.
Off to bed.
Yes, I think I will, if you'll forgive me.
Mr. Inman won't be staying.
Not long, anyway.
Could you spare him for a moment, Mr. Inman? I could do with a bit of help closing that bedroom window.
Excuse me, Alec. Won't be a moment.
Good night.
Good night. Ah. Was she a good shot?
Nothing spectacular. Sorry I can't offer to put you up for the night, but we haven't a spare bed. But you can be back home in a couple of hours.
Well, thanks for the coffee, anyway.
You never would take no, Alec.
You know, you haven't allowed me to explain.
I know just what would be involved.
In the first place, only a trip to London, to find out what's wanted in regard to the Mburu hearing.
Then to Kenya, then the committal proceedings, then the trial. I'm not going.
Teddy, this is a request from the government.
I have served my time for my country, for my people. For society, if you like. I'm responsible now only to Mary and myself. How long have you been married, Alec?
Eh? What's that got to
Well,
do with
come on, how long?
Oh.
Tell me.
Well, let's see, 24 years?
You've been with her all that time?
Yes. Apart from a couple of short spells.
I met Mary during the war. She was working for the army in Cairo. Then the war separated us. I saw her for 1 month in 4 years.
Oh.
No, wait, now listen. After the war, she came out to Kenya. We decided to marry. But then there was the emergency, and she had to leave. The emergency became a security operation, a full-scale war.
Ted.
No, hold on. We were separated again for another 3 years. Mary waited. And after independence, I was conned into working out my time with you in London. No time for children, for a family. As a fool, an idiot, I wasted her life and mine.
No, you haven't.
You're an intelligent man, Alec. There's some things you don't understand.
I know that your life hasn't been wasted. With your record...
Mary's has.
Ted, I can understand you not wanting to get involved all over again, be away from home. I'll be honest, I spend every minute I can get with my wife.
Well, let's leave it at that.
But you can take your wife with you on this trip to Kenya. It's not a security job. Make a holiday of it. Expenses paid.
No.
If it's loss of business, you'll be recompensed.
I've said no.
Then there must be some other reason. Now, look, I've told Moxon. I said I know him. He's an honest man, all of that. But what am I to tell them now? This is no explanation.
There is another reason.
What?
There is another reason.
Teddy,
Oh, I'm sorry.
if Mr. Inman doesn't mind roughing it, you can get down the mattress from the attic.
No, dear.
Well, it's quite comfortable.
He's going. He was just about to go.
Oh. Well, hope you can come down again sometime when I'm wide awake.
Yes, indeed.
I'll be up in a minute.
Good night.
Oh, I'm sorry. Good night.
There is a reason. All to do with what I've been trying to say. But I can't give it you. I can't tell anyone.
He was drunk, I'm afraid. But he's absolutely no now, no flair for publicity. Though he has the best of advisors. Do you have a club, Jordan?
Only where they have bunnies.
We are a little antiquated here. The fires in the bedrooms are still worked by a coin in the slot.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me, do you think Mr. Inman has succeeded? Will he persuade Edward Kirk to come and see us?
Well, I had a pretty frosty reception.
Let's hope he has more luck. Oh, what was your impression of the man, Jordan?
Kirk, well, typical ex-colonial policeman. Tough, honest.
Interesting. Honest. You only saw him for a few minutes.
Yes, but with respect.
Oh, that's what you're trained for.
Yeah.
But it's especially important in this case that we get an accurate assessment of the man's reliability.
Why, should we doubt it?
I didn't say that. But it's a delicate situation. At this moment, our relations with the Kenya government depend on the cooperation of that man.
But only if he is reliable.
We need to bring him to London to evaluate him.
I see. Well, Mr. Inman should do it. I mean, he told me that he worked with Kirk. He knows the man.
Does he?
So, no Kirk.
No Kirk? He finally quoted the book at me, St. Luke. Lord, lettest thou thy servant depart in peace according to thy word. Not bad, eh? Not that I'm any deputy for the Lord. And I imagine when Ted Kirk left Special Branch, he was given no promise that his services would never be required again.
So he wouldn't budge, eh?
No.
Why?
Yes.
Mr. Moxon is here, sir.
Ask him to come in, will you?
Incidentally, Moxon asked me to have dinner at his club last night.
He what?
Well, he wanted to know my impressions of Kirk.
And you obliged?
Very difficult to refuse him.
Difficulties don't often deter you.
No, sir, they don't.
Come in. Good morning, Mr. Moxon.
Morning. I got your message about Kirk, but no explanation.
There will be none.
Why not?
Because I haven't got one.
This is ridiculous. The man must have said why he refuses to help us.
He won't go to Kenya.
Why not? There'll be no financial loss. He'll be treated with respect by the Kenya government, and we want him to go. It's a request from the highest level.
He will not go.
Then you'd better order him to go. One man's whim can't be allowed to jeopardize relations between ourselves and Kenya. It is
I can't
vital.
order him to go. The oath he once took forbade him to do certain things, but there is nothing that can make him do something now that he's retired.
Are you defending him?
No.
You condone his stubborn attitude. Damn it all, Inman, you should know better than this. Kirk has his duties still, his obligations. One doesn't retire from this work just like that. You know that.
You won't get Kirk.
Will I not? That we shall see. Perhaps he's afraid he won't be protected.
Protected? Against what?
It's reasonable, isn't it? He's frightened about something.
There.
I don't believe it.
You threw it out.
Well, Labour would never justify the return.
Well, I must be honest. I'm going to keep it.
Well.
Ted, what did they come down here for? First that young man Jordan and then Alec Inman. You must have thought it was important to come racing down here late at night.
What they may think important is not important to you or me.
You're going to London?
No.
Well, why ever not? I could come too.
No, you won't. I'm not having you mixed up in it.
But I am mixed up in it. If you are, I am.
Good, that's all then. You seeing Moxon again?
Sir?
He'll use you, you know.
Well, I don't think I can be got at.
Why don't you avoid even the suspicion?
Yes.
Jordan, just a minute. Shut the door. What did he say to you the night before last?
Well, he just wanted to know what I thought of Kirk.
Well?
Well, I told him on first impressions he seemed pretty tough on the outside underneath the sentimentalist.
Good for you.
Toughness is real. I'd expect him to mean no when he said it.
Not easily deflected.
What is Kirk's record?
Sit down. He was born in Kenya, brought up alongside the Kikuyu, speaks the language perfectly. At the beginning of the emergency, he joined Special Branch in Nairobi. If any one man can be said to have defeated the Mau Mau, it's Ted Kirk. After months of work, he got right in amongst them, in direct contact with the terrorist leaders, and one by one, he talked them into surrender.
But including this General Egypt?
Kirk always said that he was never anything but a criminal, an adventurer. But most of the others were genuine nationalists.
Yes, but I mean, no one distinguished types in those days, did they?
I don't know. Maybe Kirk did. See, he seems to be respected by those who were his enemies.
You really know Kirk well?
I think so.
Moxon hinted to me that you might not.
I'll tell you this much. I know him a damn sight better than Moxon.
Thank you. Is it official then?
Is what official, Mr. Sullivan?
Whatever it is you have to tell me. Or ask me. Cheers.
Cheers. Will you treat anything I may say at this stage as off the record?
As you wish.
You noticed a news item from Kenya, the arrest of a chap named Dedan Mburu. He was known during the Mau Mau emergency as General Egypt.
Yes, I think I have. Still fighting. Turned against his own party.
Yes.
I don't remember any reason for his arrest being given.
He's suspected of the killing of John Kaleba, a senior minister.
No. Wanted his job, did he?
It's amazing how violently politicians can react when left out of office. We are joking.
Oh, yes. We're joking.
Actually, this chap Mburu was never a political leader. He was a gangster, no friend of ours. And no friend of the present government in Kenya. It will be a good thing for all concerned when he's brought to trial and convicted.
This is the story?
Yes, in part. And there's no need for you to treat that in confidence. The British government are together with the Kenya government in the matter of bringing Mburu to trial. Not that we can, or should, interfere with the course of their justice.
But hang him?
I've not used that word, Mr. Sullivan.
What's the other part of the story?
Same again?
Thank you.
A large one. It's quite a long story.
He bought you a drink?
A drink? Several.
Yeah, do you want a cup of coffee?
Oh, yes, please. No sugar.
Okay, he bought you. It must have been important.
Yes, but he didn't tell me anything. Great build-up about this General Egypt character.
Ah, Dedan Mburu.
Yes, and Mburu, all that bit.
You wanted black?
Fine, thanks, Kay. But he's being held on a murder charge, assassination, everyone's enemy. We covered all that ground. And then he mentioned Special Branch in Kenya. But then he hinted it was something to do with you people here as well. Said it was a long story, and then cut it short.
Well, all off the record.
Yes, those words have a movable meaning.
Yeah, well, they moved you to come over here.
I was intrigued. And I must say I've heard a great deal more straight talk in this building than I've ever heard from Moxon.
Yes, well, I mean, that might not be any reflection on him, you know.
Now, come on, Elliot, what's going on? How are you involved in this rumpus in Kenya?
We're not, I mean, to the best of my knowledge.
You were once.
Not me.
Please don't be vague. I'm doing my best to explain. I'm telling you everything he told me.
Look, I don't know how Special Branch could be involved in this. I know, right? Before independence, Kenya Police had their own Special Branch, right? I mean, they might have had some connection with us, but it was vague.
Yes, I got as far as that with Moxon. Then he went off on yet another tack. He suddenly dropped the word Zimwi. Do you know it?
No.
Zimwi. Dropped it like a hot brick. Then he started muttering about Pinkville and this story about the plantation workers being shot down during the emergency in Malaya. Such unhappy events. That's good, isn't it? Such unhappy events, he said, seem inevitable when people decide that power grows out of the barrel of a gun.
Yeah, I can just hear Moxon saying that. Beautiful.
Oh, I'm sorry, Elliot. I've had one or two, and I think I'll have another. Join me?
No, thanks. No, some other time. I might have some answers for those questions.
Good. Give my regards to your chief superintendent.
Yes. Yeah, I'll do that. He's a journalist. He writes on security matters, police, spy gossip, you know, the sort of thing. He's a contact of mine.
Yes, I know. Go on.
Now, Moxon has been talking to him. He mentioned Umburu, the trial, and Special Branch, and something or someone called Zimwi. Now, they had lunch together, and Sullivan came straight over here, and he told me all about it.
As Moxon anticipated, no doubt. Oh, that's no brilliant deduction. When Moxon was here this morning, he threatened some sort of action against Kirk. I think I know what he's up to. He started to show his hand 2 days ago, but I didn't see it. Have a look at these. No, just the envelopes. There's nothing in them.
Well, these are all posted in Nairobi, Kenya.
Dated during the Mau Mau troubles. Moxon gave them to me, he said, because of the stamps.
No, that's very subtle.
Have a look at which one is that one.
Mr. R.A. Fowler, Church Road, Bude, Cornwall. Who's he?
He's dead now, but he was Ted Kirk's father-in-law. They're all in Kirk's handwriting.
Yeah, but how did Moxon get hold of them?
He said from an old file on Kenya.
Yeah, but who was stopping Kirk's mail and why?
Zimwi. Zimwi is the name of a village in Kenya. Small village in the slopes of the Aberdare Mountains. Well, there was a massacre at Zimwi, an alleged massacre during the Mau Mau fighting.
I see.
The story was kept out of the press, but Kirk had to attend an inquiry about that and other matters, where Moxon's file came from, no doubt.
Was Kirk involved in this massacre at Zimwi?
He was said to be responsible.
Well, of course. I mean, that's why he doesn't want to go back to Kenya.
No. The inquiry cleared him absolutely.
Yeah, but that was an inquiry by our side.
He was accused of all sorts of crimes by Mau Mau agents. Those sort of charges were laid against all the best police officers. You know the game, Jordan. Throw enough mud and some of it will stick. But the evidence about the so-called massacre wasn't even admitted in court.
Yeah, but if that is the case, why did Moxon bring it up?
Because mud does stick. Feed a word to a hungry journalist and he'll make inquiries.
Yeah, but Sullivan said that Moxon used the word Zimwi. He didn't say anything about Kirk. He made no connection between the two of them. Now, why was that?
Moxon wants us to do that for him. He wants us to make the connection. He is telling us that he could go further, that he could revive the whole scandal about the Zimwi massacre and Kirk's involvement unless
we take the hint. Unless we go to Kirk and we say, play ball, do your duty. If you don't, the whole Zimwi story will be spread to the British press.
Exactly.
Very cunning.
It's very important that your story should be told, Mrs. Taylor.
It was a long time ago now. Is it a good idea to open old sores, Mr. Sullivan?
Yes, if it means they can be cleared up. Are you afraid, Mrs. Taylor? I'll understand.
No, I'm not afraid. I was educated, Mr. Sullivan. It was the uneducated Kikuyus who feared reprisals, and from the supernatural, not the Mau Mau.
Then why not?
Remembering can be very painful.
Promise me you'll think it over?
What's you?
I'm
oh,
sorry.
No, come in. I want to talk to you.
I was just passing.
I got your message.
I beg your pardon.
The Kenya file you mentioned is to do with the inquiry into the Zimwe massacre and Ted Kirk.
How did you guess?
The journalist you spoke to is not the most discreet of men.
My goodness, I thought I could trust him. I know he sometimes...
Just a minute.
Oh, I'm sorry. I know he's sometimes been given information off the record. He's even spoken to you.
Yes, we have used him in exactly the same way as you have, to leak information.
Then you mustn't be offended at me.
I'm offended only because you think I might bring pressure to bear on Kirk by linking him with Zimwe.
Oh, you are doing that, Inman,
Oh,
not me.
No, you mentioned Zimwe to Sullivan.
My reason for speaking to that journalist was to let it be known in press circles that we support the government of Kenya in the matter of bringing Mburu to trial.
Then why go to a muckraker like Sullivan?
You may ask him, or whoever told you about my meeting him, whether it is not a fact that we spoke about the trial. He would be doing us a service by spreading our government's views.
You also mentioned Special Branch. You mentioned Zimwe, which might lead him to Kirk.
Oh, draw that conclusion if you like, Inman. Sullivan knew little or nothing of what I was talking
He
about.
will by now. He will be hot on the trail by now.
Then we shall stop him. As we wish. Unless, of course, he could be helpful. Or if, through your efforts, the situation changed.
Eh? Do you think I'll visit him again? Do you think I'll go and tell Kirk that he must go to Kenya, or else the story of Zimwe will be put about?
My dear Inman, draw that conclusion if you like. I am suggesting nothing.
You are! You bloody well are!
Hear me out. I cannot have brought home to you how important it is for relations between this country and Kenya, between this country and all the new nations of Africa, that we behave properly about Mburu's trial, which means, above all, that Edward Kirk make himself available as a witness, an honest witness.
Now, don't you talk to me about honesty. I will not have a police officer put under pressure in this way. A what?
An ex-police officer?
You will do nothing through me.
Hello. Any luck?
I lost the Georgian glasses to Foley.
Oh. What did he bid?
50 above me. But I got the bureau.
Good.
And I got these for you.
Oh, Teddy, you shouldn't.
Oh, yes, I should. They'll make up for you missing a trip to London.
Oh, no, Dad, come on. I've got to get the tea.
I'll help you.
No, you stay there. Oh, they're gorgeous.
Good.
Was a telephone call whilst you were out?
That's an event.
From London.
Oh?
Oh, I didn't quite catch the man's name. Sullivan, I think he said it was. A journalist. Do you know him?
No, I don't. What did he want?
Well, he just wanted to know if he had the right Kirk. Can I speak to Edward Kirk, he said. The chap who was a police officer in Kenya.
Drink.
Please. Thank you. I'm telling Mr. Inman about our meetings.
Mr. Jordan, please do. I only want to get a job done.
The Kirk business.
Yes, the Kirk business. I thought it would be a kindness to Mr. Inman not to raise the matter with him again. He seems to find the whole thing charged with emotion.
Well, he seems to think that one shouldn't threaten or blackmail another policeman.
No one has yet threatened Kirk. Indeed, he is blackmailing us in a sense by refusing to come out of his private shell and do his duty.
Mr. Inman thinks that he has some personal reason for not wanting to go back to Kenya.
What good reason? What personal reason that is more important than the interests of state?
I don't know.
Perhaps Mr. Inman has been so good as to tell you.
No, he hasn't.
Then, may I guess at it, Jordan? The colonial police were a particular breed. They made their own rules. This fellow, Mburu, General Egypt, he was a friend of Kirk's.
Was he?
Shall we say an ally? Anyway, he was one of the most vicious Mau Mau terrorists. He killed several loyal Kikuyu chiefs, his own people. Kirk caught him. But instead of handing him over to justice, he turned him into his own agent. He paid him to betray other Kenyan leaders.
Well, that might have been logical and necessary at the time.
It did not endear him to the others.
Yes, well, I can understand that.
Perhaps he's afraid.
Oh, no, I doubt that very much.
Afraid of what may come out, Jordan.
Yes, but then why should he be? Because he was, just a policeman doing his duty.
Police officers like Kirk were sent packing after independence.
Oh, well, some were.
Oh, Kirk among them. Asked to leave, dismissed. He has no love for the present Kenyan government.
Well, I wouldn't know anything about that.
Why don't you ask him? If Mr. Inman won't go, will you? You might even find out the truth about Zimri. I'm sorry, Jordan. I really did want to spare Mr. Inman's feelings. I thought you might go and help us both out.
Ted, I promise you. Now listen to me, I promise you, nobody here give your name to anyone. No, Ted, no one. Ted, listen to me. Now wait a minute. Yes, Jordan, what is it?
I've been to see Moxon again. I told him, I said I'm going to come straight over here and tell you. I know, I'm being used as a messenger boy.
What did he have to say?
Moxon's not going to let go. He talked to me about the interests of state. Kirk should be warned of the consequences unless he cooperates.
And from his own narrow, conniving, sanctimonious point of view, he's perfectly right.
Now spread the story of Zimwi.
We can't stop him. Kirk's just been on the telephone. He's had 2 calls from a journalist. Guess who? No prizes.
Sullivan? He caught on very quickly, didn't he?
Sullivan knows his trade. He's been put on the trail of Special Branch. He's been put on the trail of Kenya. Who better to consult than a well-informed ex-officer?
Moxon suggested that I go and see Kirk. At that, I walked out.
The point is this, Jordan. He's beaten us. I'll have to go and see Kirk again. Kirk will have to be warned. He'll have to be told what to expect from Sullivan and from Moxon's mudsling.
The only way he can get out of it is to go back to Kenya.
How else can we stop Moxon? How can we stop him?
Is there anything in this Zimwi massacre story? I mean, that can be proved.
It was a slander.
Have you seen the reports of the inquiry?
What has Moxon been showing you?
Nothing, but facts are the best defense.
Look,
if
to
there
accuse
are
Ted
any...
Kirk of an atrocity is slander. Now just keep out of this, Jordan. I'm warning you. Keep out of it. Leave it to me.
I don't like seeing Teddy under pressure, Mr. Inman. He doesn't deserve it.
Believe me, Mrs. Kirk. I'm here as a friend.
Good. What's done's done.
I won't keep him long.
I'll throw him out again directly.
Good night.
Good night.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, Alec, sit down.
Aren't you going to...
No.
You're in good health. Has that fellow Sullivan been on to you again?
No. I told him I'd be no use to him. I said everything I knew about Kenya I'd forgotten.
Including the incident at Zimwi? I'm sorry I have to do this, Ted. I've been maneuvered into this position where
What do you know about Zimwi?
You told me yourself about the inquiry.
It was wiped off the slate. There's nothing in any records.
Apparently somebody has something on a file.
When you were here the other day, did you know they had this file?
No. No, I might have guessed.
What's the point you're coming to, Alec? What are you getting at?
Can you tell me why you want to attend the trial? You told me you had the strongest personal reasons. I accept that. But now I'm on the spot. I have to explain. It's become a matter of high policy.
And threats? Threats against me? Someone's been talking to that fellow Sullivan. How much has been given to that bloody man?
The word Zimwi has been dropped in his ear, but not in connection with you, not yet. He found you on his own initiative.
I don't think you have to protect me.
Ted, I trust you completely.
Don't do me any favors.
Will you help me?
It's not to save my own skin, if that's what you're thinking. It's Mary's life that's at stake, not mine. She's got leukemia.
Splendid day.
Yes, sir.
I always listen to the early morning weather report on the radio. Chap got it right for once.
Well, it's good of you to come and see me, sir.
No, it was on my way to the commander's. This trial in Kenya, our chap,
Kirk, sir. Kirk was our chap. He's retired now, sir.
Whitehall wants Kirk to go. He doesn't.
Yes, I know that, sir. He's a very good reason. As I said in my report, his wife has a form of leukemia.
Yes, it's very distressing. Oh, do sit down, sit down. Oh, I don't doubt the man's sincerity. I think I should tell you, Inman, that I've had a word with Moxon about this. He liaised with you, I believe.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, he got in touch with me, anticipating some protest.
Yes, well, Mr. Moxon has a very keen sense of anticipation.
You're obviously at odds with him in this. Please don't be at odds with me.
Sir...
Moxon may be right, you know, in thinking that Kirk may be afraid to go to Kenya. That business at Zimwi.
Sir...
Well, he must cast those fears aside. And you, my dear fellow, must help him. He must go through with it. Our relations with Kenya are of the best and must remain so.
Can Kirk's evidence at the trial make all that difference?
Whitehall's people in Kenya think it's the acid test of our sincerity that we should firmly encourage Kirk to testify.
Whatever may be the outcome?
Precisely because of what might come out. We must face up to it. We must clear the air once and for all. I believe Kirk is a very remarkable man, or was. A man who could be trusted. Let us just hope that he's not hiding behind his wife.
His wife is very ill, sir.
Nevertheless, Whitehall requires him to go to Kenya.
Miss, what'll you have?
Tomato juice.
Oh, God, yes. Tomato juice, please. Well, have you kept your promise?
About what?
To give me the answer to those questions. What fun and games the special branch up to in Kenya, and who or what was Zimwi?
Oh, come on now, you know all about that.
Yes, I found out. Zimwi, some say, was the My, the Pinkville of Kenya. People of a village wiped out, an atrocity.
Who said it was an atrocity?
There are some Kenyans in London.
Do they know who's responsible?
I'm working on the story. Thank you.
Thank you.
Keep it. Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers, Jim. You said you were used to straight talk from me.
Yes, I did.
Well, here's some more. Don't talk about Zimwi. Don't ask about Zimwi until I tell you.
That is very strong.
Don't.
You observe the notice. No checks cashed, no music, no fighting.
Well, I mean, I'll happily flatten your hair, you know.
All right. But tell me, if it happened, why shouldn't it be spoken about? Why sweep it under the carpet?
Well, what do you want to tell the story for? You think it's good copy, is that it?
Elliot, you're suffering from the old fallacy that the journalist, because he's paid, ipso facto cares nothing for the truth. He cares because he's paid.
Yeah.
It puts him under an obligation. All right, I agree I've allowed myself to be used in the past by yourself.
Yeah, well, allow yourself to be used a little bit more. Now, you said there's some Kenyans in London. Who are they, Jim?
If I disclose my sources...
If you don't, you'll never get anything from me again. Never, ever. I promise you.
Teddy!
Yeah?
Your soup's getting cold.
Well, come on now, tell me. Inman didn't come back for nothing.
They want me to go away.
Kenya? What for?
A trial. A man called Mburu. He was a liar, thief, coward, a murderer. But I used him. I had to use him. He helped us to break up the rebellion.
Well, what's he done now?
Murder again.
Well, what could you know about that?
They want me to testify against him. I'm trying to pin something on him for years.
Well, if he's so bad...
Mary, I am sick and tired of crime and counter-crime all dressed up as the highest idealism. And even Mburu, even he is in part a victim. Do you understand me?
Teddy, I
I've never told you, but I know about Zimwi. I would never believe it. Some security man came to me here at the time, asking me what I'd heard from you, asking questions, and visited Daddy in Cornwall.
Mary,
No, don't say anything. I would never believe. It was a lie. And no one will ever know. It's all forgotten.
Last night you said what's done's done. You don't think...
Is it all forgotten? It must be. No one could accuse you again, Teddy. I couldn't bear that.
You don't think I could have slaughtered all those people?
Well, there must have been reasons.
All these years you thought I might have been guilty and you never said anything?
Well, I wasn't there. I don't know.
My God.
Cigarette?
No, thank you.
Mrs. Kano was nursing at Zimwi.
I was trained here in England, but I went back home when they started to build a hospital in Zimwi.
She says the massacre story wasn't true.
No, I didn't.
I mean, you said...
Not as it was told.
Well, do you mind telling me about it, madam?
Zimwi is in the foothills at the edge of a forest. A gang of Mau Mau sometimes came looking for food.
Led by?
Led by Dedan and Buru. General Egypt, that's what he liked to be called. He didn't fight much, but he always took plenty of food.
Where did Mr. Kirk come into it?
He came to Zimwi and brought some Kenya police with him, well armed. He wanted Mburu, so he went into the forest after him.
And then?
Mburu came out. He killed everyone in the village he could lay his hands on.
Why should he do that?
He thought the villagers had given information to Kirk. It was revenge.
But then later on he blamed Kirk.
Soon afterwards, he spread a story that Kirk had tricked him into the killing.
But you knew that wasn't true?
We hated the British as much as we did Mburu. What did it matter?
Well, it matters to Mr. Kirk.
Mburu changed sides when he discovered his was losing. He surrendered to Kirk himself.
So there's no truth in the story that Kirk had anything to do with the massacre in Zimwi?
He couldn't. I say it was impossible.
But why are you so sure?
Kirk was very kind to us in Zimwi. He and his men helped us build our little hospital while they were there. When Mburu and his men raided the village, the first place they attacked was the hospital. Burned it. And not all the patients were able to escape in time. 15 of them died, Mr. Jordan. Mburu laughed. That's why I'm so sure.
I am saying, Mr. Inman, that I tried to save you from the strain of going to see Kirk again.
Hasn't it sunk in yet that his wife is very ill?
Oh, yes, I know. It would, under the circumstances, be an act of some gallantry for Kirk to travel to Kenya. Of self-sacrifice.
Self-sacrifice? Look, stop all this Victorian imperialist Tommy rot. Why should he sacrifice his wife? Why should she suffer?
But I understand his wife doesn't know how ill she is. She might go on for months.
So might the trial, and he knows it. He won't go. Your blackmail about Zimwi won't what?
I am not concerned about Zimwi.
What does concern you?
Duty, Inman. That concerns me.
And you think it doesn't me? But there are priorities. Do the duty which lies nearest thee. And that's exactly what Ed Kirk is trying to do now.
But I want you to go, Teddy. You must. If you don't go to Kenya, no one will stop the lies being spread about you.
I'm not leaving you.
But why? It's not for very long. Oh. Wouldn't you like to see those lovely green hills again? I know I would.
You can't. The doctor said...
I know. It's not much fun for you, is it? But you shouldn't tie yourself down just because I can't get about very much.
I'm retired.
I'm not ill. Oh, Teddy, sometimes I wonder what is wrong with me. You would tell me.
There's nothing wrong that rest won't cure.
Well, why shouldn't you go? If it's to protect your name. It's very sweet of you to want to stay with me, darling, but this is far more important, really it is.
Is it?
Well, of course it is. Good heavens, I shall still be here when you come back.
A statement. A signed statement from the woman. And she knows of another Kenyan in London. This is a clear defense of Kirk.
Good. Jordan, I lost my rag the other night. Yes?
Hey, Mr. Kirk here to see you, sir.
Ask him to come in. I didn't expect that. I told him to sit tight. Hello, Ted.
Hello.
Ted, I've been upstairs. I've done absolutely everything I
I've
can.
come to say I'll go.
We can stop the story, the rumors and the
Zimwe,
lies.
it doesn't matter to me, not now. Unfortunately, it does to Mary. Mud sticks, Jordan. Even if you try to defend me.
Yes, but we can. Look, I've got a
I
signed stick.
have to go now, because Mary wants me to. She thinks it's the only way I can clear my name once and for all. I couldn't tell her why I don't want to. I couldn't tell her that she might never see me again. That she might be dead when I get back, could I?
Mr. Sullivan, what a happy coincidence. A drink.
I have one, thank you.
I see that chap Mburu's being committed for trial.
I'm not working on that story, no.
You might do something about one of our chaps who went out, Edward Kirk. Remarkable record in the Kenya police and a very gallant man. Went out there to give evidence. Been very well received.
How's his wife?
I get regular reports.
Really? How bloody efficient.
Indeed, we try to be.